I got a big mouth. And now I talk from my heart. I'm real. You know what I'm saying? Whatever comes. But my controversy probably. And it's not my fault. I'm trying to find my way in the world. You know, I'm trying to be somebody instead of just make money off everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so I go down paths that haven't been traveled before, and I usually mess up. But I learn, you know what I'm saying? I come back stronger. You know, I'm not talking ignorant, you know what I'm saying? So I obviously put thought into what I do. Your karma, everything that you do bad comes back to you. So anything that I'm doing that's bad, I'm going to have to suffer for it. But in my heart, I think what I'm doing is right. You know what I mean? And I think heaven is just, when you sleep with a good conscience. You don't have nightmares. And hell is...
What's going on, everyone? It is your girl, Queen Quee, and this is Hot Topics. First off, I want to just let you guys know that my allergies are kicking in. So if I sound a little raspy, I am drinking green tea, and I'm trying to get better and trying to get my allergies back in forefront. Therefore, that's the reason why I have not been doing my podcast lately. But I'm going to get back on it because we got to get it. So let's just jump into some news. Kelly Price is finally speaking out about her being missing. And let me give you guys a little background of it. Kelly Price had got sick, and her family and different type of fans was very concerned because they found out that she was sick, and she checked herself at the hospital, even though she was still sick, dealing with COVID, and therefore she had moved out of her, I want to say they said that she had moved out of her house at the moment and everything else. So it was a lot of speculation. Her family was getting on the blogs and different news outlets saying how they haven't spoken to her over months and stuff like that. And then on top of that, her husband was not reporting any information on her well-being, for as if she was okay, if she was actually worse off. So he wasn't giving any feedback, and at the time, that was the only person that was close to Kelly Price that can give an update on actually what's going on behind the scenes. So let's get into Kelly Price's response of what was actually
going. I woke up a couple of days later, and the first thing I remember is the team of doctors standing around me and asking me if I knew what year it was.
Wait, when you say they lost you, can you clarify what that means?
I died. And the next thing, it was some days later, I remember waking up in ICU and the doctor asking me if I remembered what year it was. I'm sorry, not what day, if I knew what year it was. Going into the hospital, I'd actually had COVID for over a week, but my conditions were progressing in the wrong direction from home. And we're jumping all the way in. So I had it. My husband did not have it. He was taking care of me at home, speaking with my primary care physician, giving me breathing treatments, giving me my medicine every me. I woke up in constant communication with her, and eventually he ended up testing positive within a week after I got it, and just prior to me going into the hospital. She could see, she was seeing me every day on FaceTime and walking him through administering meds. And when it got to a point, my temperature had raised right to about 103, and my breathing was extremely shallow. And so he called the ambulance. And so I had to go to the hospital. Well, I was discharged after being released on oxygen. And I actually just got my first clean COVID test, probably exactly a week ago. So I have what is called long COVID. And I am facing a very uphill battle right now. So let me cry. I have a lot of rehabbing to do. I suffer a lot of internal damage. And so I have a lot of rehabbing to do before I am able to be what I like to call concert again. And following the year I've had losing so many people, I had just lost my grandmother before I was diagnosed. And I feel like the only way I can, after being released on oxygen, And I actually just got my first clean coat.
Okay, so basically that sums up what she was saying. She was letting everybody know that she's okay. She was well, she's not, probably mentally and physically okay at the moment, but she is yet alive and she's on the road of recovering. And the reason why I want to bring this up because it was a big debate about should celebrities tell us what is going on with them when they're dealing with health issues or anything like that? Or do you feel like that no, that's something that should be private? And it's okay for them to keep that information from us, and if something happened it happens. And the reason why I said that is because it was such a big debate, and it was such a like people was calling in to blogs, and her family members was doing interviews talking about how they haven't heard from her and over years and stuff like that. And she even explained the reason why she don't understand why her family did that because they haven't spoke to her in over years, and they know the reason why, because of an altercation after the mother or the grandmother passed away. So it was kind of like, how family is. Once someone their big mama died in the family, it seemed like a lot of stuff go downhill. So she haven't even spoke to her family since then. And when it come down to the fans and stuff like that, she did make a post, but you had people that speculate and assume and spread rumors. They feel like that wasn't good enough. They feel like her husband put the post up there to keep him out the back. They even called in to her husband, like far as like they called the police and wanted a wellness checkup. We're talking about regular people that do not personally know her for a fact. They just know her music. They was calling in, asking the police to do a wellness checkup because they thought something was wrong. They even called in on her husband, talking about, oh, he was a stalker. They didn't put up his records, talking about he had domestic violence. So they felt like he was plotting to kill Kelly Price. It was so much speculation where it was sick. And my personal opinion on it, I feel like how she felt at the end of the day. First of all, that's my husband. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm sick and I am down and out and stuff like that, my first thing is not to get on social media and let social media know. Because let's just keep it real. You guys, that's nobody's business. You see what I'm saying? Like, you gonna come over there and feed me, pay my bills, and help out, you know what I'm saying? Or do you just want to know just to have something to talk about? So I don't feel like Kelly Price was wrong for not basically informing the public, and she was letting everybody speculate and spread rumors because a lot of people trying to think like she just want attention. She just want attention. She better not come out with no song or something like that. But my whole thing is that everybody don't do everything for clout. For you guys to go so deep into looking into her husband and feeling like that it was some type of conspiracy and stuff like that, but in reality, she just wanted a peace of mind and she wanted to heal in peace because she said that it was fans. The reason why she moved out of her house because it was actually fans coming up to her house. And it was fans that was actually coming up to her house, leaving stuff all on the on her door, whether it was flowers, whether them knocking on the door trying to check on her. It's a scary fact, especially when I don't know people personally. I don't want nobody knocking on my door, especially in this day of time. Like you're gonna get a bullet in your doggone head, and I don't want to hear about I was a fan of yours. No, you see what I'm saying? Because now you're invading my privacy. So if she didn't even want y'all to sit up here and know where she stay at and come to her house and do all of that, yes, she moved so she can heal in peace. Just imagine you trying to get some rest and you paranoid because you know what I'm saying, you're on an oxygen tanker, you can't breathe, and you got all these overwhelming calls and text messages and people that want to hear your voice and just see you. And then after they hear your voice and see you, that's it. Cause ain't nobody worried about Kelly Price no more. It's crazy how when people think that something bad or tragic or you didn't die or something like that, you got people all out the woodwork trying to make for sure that you good. But these same people are not checking on you when you're living here on earth. You could be at the hospital or at home. And these people are not even checking on you long as they know that you're still living and breathing. But as soon as they feel like something dramatic didn't happen, all of a sudden they want to gather around. So yeah, I understand where Kelly Price was coming from on it. It's kind of like, no, like my sister and my family knew the reason why we wasn't talking from the beginning. And now her family member ain't did no interview since then. They don't even care. They ain't even checked up on Kelly since then, since she came out with this report and let everybody know she was good. That goes for everybody else. Now the news is on to something else. So what are you guys' opinion on that? Do you feel like that she was wrong for not informing her fans and letting letting the rumors and the speculation go very far and deep? Or do you feel like that no, she should have kept it private, and celebrities do have a right to keep certain things private? Okay. Will Smith confirms that Jada is not the only one who stepped out on their marriage. He once had thoughts of dating Halle Berry on the side. Marriage for us can't be a prison. Okay, it's no secret that Will Smith and Jada relationship has been gossiped about for decades now. While he didn't confirm being swingers during an interview with GQ, Will shared that at one point he would have been open to having multiple women. Will says during a meeting with an intimates coach, he expressed that if he could have anything in the world, he wanted multiple girlfriends. And Halle Berry, to be exact. After researching different women that he could add to his team, he ultimately decided against it. It was okay to think Holly is fine. It doesn't make me a bad person that I'm married and I think Holly is beautiful. Whereas in my mind, in my Christian upbringing, even my thoughts were sins. I realized that my thoughts were not sins, and on it even acting on a thought didn't make me a piece of shit, he explained. Will went on to reference his wife entanglement with Augustine. Some things he didn't want to speak much about. He said most people walked away thinking Jada was the only one who had a relationship outside of their marriage, which he explained to GQ is not the case. Jada never believed in a controversial marriage. I'm sorry. It's my allergies. And for the large part of our relationship, a monogamy was what we chose, not thinking of a perfect marriage. We have given each other trust and freedom. Marriage for us can't be a prison. He was saying basically marriage cannot be a prison. I don't suggest this role for anybody, but the experience that the freedoms that we give in one another and unconditional support to me is the highest definition of love. So let's jump right on into it and explain. First of all, Will Smith did a GQ interview and he was basically explaining about how he never did believe in, he wanted to be like a multiple relationship. It's been said for years that Will and Jada was swingers. Everybody was saying that was the word on the street. Will and Jada swingers, Will and Jada swingers. They got this and they got that going on. So it's not surprising that Will came out and basically confessed. I really do think that it was a ego trip that he was having because a lot of people felt, you had the women that felt bad about the situation when Jada came out and said she was messing around with August, and then you had the dude sitting over here, clowning him. And I think it was like, you had people on both sides and different type of people that had their mixed opinions. So Will was definitely wanted to put it out there like, hey, she ain't the only one that was out here doing the do. I was out here doing the do too. And even by him saying Halle Berry, I'm not trying to be funny, baby. Jada is let me tell you something. First of all, because for a man, I understand, his ego probably was tripping. So he probably said, let me name drop. I do feel like it was very tacky for Will to kind of like just throw Halle Berry name out there. Even if you feel like she was a beautiful woman that you wanted to talk to or mess with, I just think that was kind of tacky just to even throw her out there and just be like, I wanted to date Halle Berry and that's who I had my eyes on and blah, blah, this. Yeah, that was kind of like a little dig. And then on top of that, people was wondering why did Will Smith come out and say something now? Like what was his point of even speaking on it or saying something about that situation now and how they felt? People thought that Will and Jada was swingers for years. This is the reason why y'all need to stop looking at these celebrity relationship and these people that's on Instagram and social media relationship talking about goals. You don't know what you're sitting over here dealing with. I mean, you don't know what they're dealing with behind closed doors. Will and Jada sitting over here talking about the only way that they can stay together and stay married if they date other people, if they mess around with other people and fulfill their fulfillment through other people. And I think that is crazy and bizarre, especially when you're talking about let's stay married, but then also let's have some type of freedom. When it consists of you got you a little something on the side, I got me something on the side. And he even admitted that she wasn't even happy when she turned 40. Like they was was married over 25 years or whatever, or together for that long, and she wasn't genuinely happy. She was miserable. So it was kind of like they had to compromise. They did not want to break up because they are America's, now I ain't gonna say American couples, but Hollywood couple goals. But then on the inside, they're like messed up. Like they not dealing with each other. They're just together for the publicity of it. And it's kind of like they're losing themselves in the whole ordeal. So be mindful of that when the next time y'all looking at people relationships and be like, oh my God, they've been together for so long. I want to be like Will and Jada and all this type of BS, because that doesn't mean nothing like when it boils down to it. So please be mindful. Okay, so speaking of that, y'all, Gabrielle Union says people should be careful about who they take relationship advice from. Don't take advice from anyone about anything they haven't succeeded in. So let's listen to this clip.
You talked about, Dwayne having another child. And, you said the me I am today would not have stayed, and that would be your advice. What is it about the woman that you are today that made you say that?
It's the truth. Like who I am, the healing that I've fought for, the peace that I have fought for, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. Don't take advice from anyone doing something that about anything that they haven't succeeded at.
Yeah.
So if you're going to ask me, a divorced woman who's had a gang of relationship challenges about what you should do in a relationship, you've already failed. I could give you my coulda, woulda, shoulda, but at the end of the day, I did. Be careful when you ask, when and who you ask for advice about, what to do in the moment.
You talked about.
Okay, so what do you guys think about that? Do you think that you should take advice for other people that have not succeeded in certain type of thing? Like, should you take relationship advice for somebody that is single or is divorced and stuff like that? And I would say I agree to a certain extent. And the reason why I kind of agree, but then also disagree, I agree because that is kind of like, why should you take advice with somebody who have not succeeded in something? Like if I'm coming to you for advice and I want to know something, then 9 times out of 10, that's because you have met the standard and the goal of it. You're somewhere that I want to be or I want to get to. So of course you're not gonna sit in the doggone classroom and want to learn how to do let's just say hair by somebody who never even got their license to do her legally. You see what I'm saying? Or they never sit up here even took the steps to making sure that their own business is secure in some type of way. So how can I take business advice from you when you never even took the procedures to do it for yourself? So I agree on that point, but then I also just disagree because at the end of the day, those are the main people that you probably can learn the most from too. And just like in my blog, What I Am Unity, never judge a book by its cover. Just because somebody look a certain type of way or they're doing something different, then that doesn't mean that they can't give you no good advice. For example, parents. Parents love telling their kids what to do and give them advice or trying to make sure that they stay out the way and or go down a certain type of path. Why? Because they know where that path leads them to. So they love you enough and they care about you enough to let you know, like, hey, don't do that because this, and that might happen, or you might have to deal with this, and that. So, what do a disobedient person do? They're looking at their situation. Because I'm gonna use for example, my dad. He's not the perfect person in the world, but I'll never forget. He was trying to give me teach me a lesson about life, and instead of me taking that lesson, I decided to basically use his past against him. And I'm like, well, how can you tell me this and you're this, and that? You never succeeded in marriage. You never succeeded in this, and that. So how can you tell me about doing this or being in a relationship and committed and da, da, da? And I had to weep where I saw, because in reality, he was the perfect person to tell me exactly the road not to go down. But I was so blinded about him not being successful or him not tackling those issues to the point where I overlooked the fact of he was trying to help me, you know what I'm saying, and prevent me going through the same pain and the agony that he went through. So what do you guys think about that? Do you go based on the information or somebody successful successful record and stuff like that, if you're looking into something, or do you at the end of the day you don't care? Long as if you basically take people advice, and if it works for you, it works for you. If it don't, it doesn't. So yeah, what do you guys thought about it? I really think it's like up and down when it comes down to me about that situation. Okay, let's get into it. Trick or Treat radio morning show in Miami pool. So it's canceled. So Trick Daddy and Trina had a radio station, and they basically canceled it. They at first they ended up taking Ricky Smiley off the show, I guess, in Miami, and they gave it to Trick and Trick and Trina, and they are both rappers and they're from Miami, so they gave them the radio station. A lot of people is really impressed because they're saying like, wow, like we didn't even think that they was gonna last that long. So for them to last that long was definitely, I want to say they only lasted for, let me see, I would have to check, but I want to say it was 2 years. Yeah. Probably like a year. Like they was going on a year. And some people didn't think that they was gonna last that long. But I just wanted to say, like, okay, that was, that they're canceled. But then also, I want to let you guys know, like, see what I'm saying about having a certain type of status. And people think it's so easy to do radio or doing other things and other people's jobs. You do not know until you're be put in that situation. Now, remind you, Trick or Trina, let them say it. They're the king and queen of Miami. Everybody love them. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? You have to check in when you come to Miami. You can't succeed unless you go through Trick or Trina, whoop the whoop, blah blah. But then when they have a radio station in their own hometown, then basically the station kind of failed. It failed to do numbers. It failed to do, exactly what they thought that was going to happen. They took somebody off the earth, Ricky Smiley, that has been over the years, I want to say at least 15, 20 years. And then they put Trick and Trina on there because of a popularity type of thing, thinking like, hey, this is going to raid people in. But in reality, the numbers had dropped dramatically. So it kind of just shows people like, hey, stay in your lane. Please stay in your lane. Stop always trying to do stuff that you think that, other people, it's easier. I think people look at the situation, be like, oh, all I gotta do is sit down. All I gotta do is sit down and, and just talk about stuff and do this and do that. That's easy. I could do that. No, it's easy. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a personality, if you don't have the drive and stuff like that, it would never go the way you probably expected. That's the same way with me. I have to look at my situation the same way. It's because that, just because I have a certain type of personality and stuff like that, I still have to do stuff to kind of prepare when it comes down to my show. I might have to do research. I might have to know what I'm going to talk about. I might have to look deep into a situation and kind of find the underlying issue. And I don't care what you say, it's very hard to get onto a podcast or a radio station and actually sit up there and talk, and you don't have feedback coming in just like that. So yeah, I just want people to know, keep that in mind when you're looking for your goals and career. Don't look at other people's success and what they got going on, and then you automatically feel like, well, I know I'll be good at that. Be mindful. So let's get into it. Jeannie Mai, she is the lady that was on the Real. You know what? Scratch that. I'm not even gonna talk about that issue. And the reason I ain't gonna talk about it because I'm over here thinking, and I'm just like, it ain't even that important and deep to even put on my hot topic. So excuse me. So let me just switch over to another subject. Ashanti will be re-recording 2002 self-titled album. Now she owns her master. Let's see what she says.
Get the masters to the album, Ashanti, that started it all. And I want to point out to our audience who's here and at home, Taylor Swift was in the news last year about getting her masters. R&B star Anita Baker has been very vocal about the battles to get hers. In March, the great Anita Baker said that she has outlived all of her contracts, and by law, her masters were to be returned, but tweeted, unfortunately, they're going to make me fight for it. You get your masters to this album. What does that mean to own your music that you've written?
It is, again, it's so surreal. I have an amazing legal team, and I got my first record deal when I was 14 years old. So understanding and seeing how things have changed so much from then to now, and conceptually understanding what you're signing is so imperative. It's so important nowadays. The fact that I'll be able to re-record my first album and put everything together.
Wait, that's the big announcement. I was going to build up to get the masters. I was going to build up to that. Ashanti is re-recording. I love how you just dropped that. She's re-recording the album now as an independent artist. Yesterday's price is not today's price. I was going to build up to that.
Okay, so let me hurry it up. So Ashanti is re-releasing her first album. She got all the masters to it, so therefore she'll basically be making a profit. What people fail to realize, Ashanti has wrote a lot of her songs, a lot of her hit records. Not only her hit records, she also have did like background vocals and vocals for J-Lo and different type of artists and made hit songs for them too. So she was basically letting people know, like, be mindful of when you step into a certain type of industry or career to check out your stuff. Don't be so eager to, like, basically sign information and you'll be then signed your life away. Now, remind you, Ashanti then probably came out with, I want to say 3 albums. And on top of those 3 albums, they all have been successful. Like, some of them have literally been back-to-back hits. She has been on the top 100 Billboard chart. She have got multiple awards. And think about it, all that she have not even been able to collect money from. And that's the reason why it's such a big deal for her to own her masters. But I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of people are like, well, I ain't gonna rebuy that album from back in 2008. But at least she know from going forward that whatever money that is coming in when it comes down to people playing that song or using her songs, she can actually make money for. So best of luck to her, to Ashanti and stuff like that. But that's also something that I wanted to let people know, like, be mindful of, your status in life. You might be down on your luck, down to $5 in a bank. And, somebody come to you and be like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, I sign this deal or sign this, and that. And I can get you this, and that by tomorrow. I can get you blah, blah, this. But don't be so desperate when it come down to your dreams and, your goals and stuff like that. Patience is the key. I'm not trying to say that, a lot of these artists, but you got to understand, a lot of these, like they just said, per se, Anita Baker, you know what I'm saying? She said she outlived, a lot of her contracts and stuff like that. That is crazy to know that this lady, like, for example, Anita Baker has hits that people can play to this day. And therefore, she is not making no money off of them. And she is still fighting for her masters. Just to sit up here and say that her work did not go into vain. So be mindful that when you're signing these contracts or looking over this type of stuff or whatever, be mindful that, hey, what if this song, what if this invention or this idea is so far that it's beyond my beliefs? You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to think that and know that, and the confidence to know that you the shit. You know what I'm saying? So please don't underestimate yourself when it comes down to business. Business before pleasure. And that goes for any type of thing that you put your mind to. Like, I always think of the business, that black and white. You know what I'm saying? Before you sit over here and sign something, you're being inside of a whole gold mine, because you're in a rush to hurry up and get out there. So, yeah, definitely, I want you guys to take heed of that. What would you have did in a situation on any of these topics and stuff like that? Please like, share, comment. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love. Mwah. What's going on, everyone? I'm so happy you decided to join me on this journey called Podcast Life. We will be discussing topics like celebrity gossip, life lesson, politics, and etc. This is a judge-free zone. Think of me as that homegirl that is so down to earth that you feel like you've been knowing for years. Remember, over here at the Boomerang Effect, the motto is never judge a book by its cover before opening it up and reading it. And remember, it's okay to agree to disagree. Just stand on what you're saying. Got it? Period. Please like, comment, share, give feedback, anything to help this podcast grow, because it is a voice for the people. So, love, peace, and unity. Mwah.